This video will cover inserting a car, so we'll cover insert car and do insert car, the pass-through. So here we've got our select statement. I want to open up the menu and make that say select all. If we look at if I come over here to the working solution, basically we go to insert car. We can type a number there. You can choose a make from the drop-down list that's provided from the description, so you should find a text file that has the select with options in it. The model will actually type the year, again as a select drop-down. The color will actually type, and then you can choose yes or no for hybrid, and then hit insert. This is number 27, so hit insert. We're looking at this bottom table in this video, so there's our number 27, the information that we entered popping up there. So that's what we're going to work on in this video. Come back to the one that we're working on. First I want to go ahead and grab this menu. And I'm just going to add the word all here and hit save. Again, I'm working off campus, so I've got my VPN enabled and my drive mapped, and it takes a couple seconds each time I save. So we've got that, and refreshing this page will bring up select all. And now we need to work on the insert page. Go ahead and from the assignment description, you should find a text file that has the cars selects in it. So here's a select, name equals car make, ID equals car make, all of the options, and then here's a second one for car year and all of the options and the closing select. So it is just the select, so you'll have to put that in where it belongs. And because I've got these kind of intermixed with our PHPs, I want to create a new folder, and I'm just going to call this, I'm going to put downloads. And then I'm going to take these text files that don't need to be with the PHPs, and I'm going to drop them in there. So now I've got my SQL statement to create the projects table and cars table, my SQL statements to drop those two tables if I want to start over. So I could run that one and then run that one again and start fresh. And then I've got my select drop-downs that are in there. Insert here, I'm going to rename as Insert Car. So again, these are ones we copied from the previous assignment, and we're going to now modify them. So there's already PHP in these. We're going to modify it from the previous assignment to fit what we want to do here. So I renamed insert to be Insert Car. And you see we start with the session start. We make sure that our error message exists, and if not, we set it equal to the empty string. Going to go ahead and change this to Assign06 and Insert Car. Same thing down here. We include our menu. Our action, so our form form ID, form 0, we are posting. Our action is going to go to doInsertCar. So we're going to create that page, doInsertCar. We'll modify it from doInsert, but we're going to have a doInsertCar and a doInsert project, which is why we're adding car to these files. Once we've got that, insert into, this is going to be the Assign06 Cars table. And then we are looking for a car ID. So instead of, I'm going to give us a little space here. So this one here is going to become the car ID. And here I've got 4 lowercase shippers, so I'll keep it lowercase car ID. And this is what's displayed on the page. And then we've got lowercase name and lowercase ID. So we'll do car ID again and car ID again. Text size is 20, max length is 3. This is actually a number. It must be an integer, so that's fine. Our first input there is done. Our next input is going to be the make, which is the drop down, one of those that we are going to copy from that text file. So you should have that text file downloaded, and we need the car make. Let's get the file ready first. So we're going to start with our li, and we're going to have a label in there. So I'm just going to start with this label here and then modify it for what I need. So title is going to be car make, and then 4 is going to be lowercase car make, and then my actual text that's on the screen I'm going to be the word make, and then right here we'll do a closing li, and right here we will paste that select from our text file. So we'll come back here, and this first one, only grab the first one, don't grab them both. So the first one, we'll copy that, come back here, paste it in, and there we've got our opening select name equals car make. So you can see that those 3 match, and we can scroll down here. There's our closing select, our closing li. So now we've got insert car. If we save that, we come back to the one we're working on and follow insert car. You can see that things are starting to change and look different. Now you'll notice that this is not looking like the rest of them. So let's make a modification to the CSS. We'll come up here to the top, and where we have the input, we're going to also add ul.li select and save that. Come back here and refresh, and now it lines up fairly well with what we have there. So we're just applying the same styles as we are to these. The drop-down list, for some reason, doesn't come out to the exact same width as a text box, but it lines up on the right-hand side. It lines up a little nicer without having to do much CSS work. So we've got that drop-down box. Our next one is the model, and then we'll have the year after that. So this one here I'm going to convert to be car model 4, and that's a lowercase c there, car model. And then we're going to change the text that appears on the screen to be model, and then these two as well, car model and car model. So we'll have that one. The next one is going to be the year, which is also a drop-down. So I'll start with this label here, and I'll make this car year, and same thing. And then the text that's going to appear on the screen, I'll just have year. This input, though, is going to go away. Because that's where we're going to put our select. So you should have an LI with a label for car year, the text that appears, year, and then here we're going to come back to this file and we're going to grab this select and paste it in here, and you should highlight that and those three should match up, car year. You'll notice the first one in this one has value equals dash space year space dash. Likewise in the one you pasted up here, we've got dash space make space dash. We'll use that a little bit later on doInsertCar. Here's our closing select. It is inside our closing LI there. Then we need color and hybrid. So we've got, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to copy this one here. So we'll do car color. Text that appears on the screen will just be color. So then we've got our input, and this needs to become car color. Again, this is one that we allow them to type. And as we move forward, we try to allow them to type less and less is the plan. The less they can type, the less they can essentially mess up the code or mess up the database. So anything you can provide in a drop-down box, selection box, anything to prevent typing is usually a good thing in web development. And then we've got our radio buttons. So we're going to copy this. This is going to be car hybrid. And again, lowercase c car hybrid. Text on the screen will be hybrid, question mark. And then we've got, this is going to change here for us. So we're going to have, we're going to put a span and then we're going to have two inputs that are there. So inside of this label here, let's do a span. And then we'll close that span. We will have an input there. Its name is going to be car hybrid, ID as well. The type is going to be radio. So we're changing this type equal text to be type equal radio. We'll get rid of the size and max length on it. We do need to set a value. Capital Y for yes. And then outside, this is the text that's on the screen that you see. Yes. This is the value that gets submitted to the database. Yes. So we'll make sure that we've got a capital Y there because, again, case sensitivity matters. We're going to copy that and paste it, and this becomes no, and this becomes no. Now if we leave it like that and save it, it's not going to look quite how we want. Refresh that, so you see we've got it not quite how we want here. So let's come back and change the CSS to it. So we're going to come up here. Oops, not quite far enough. So we've got a span there. We are going to, under that span, do a ULLI span pound radios. And we'll do a color of pound black. We'll do a font weight of normal. Set padding to 0 pixels. Set a margin right of 130 pixels. So now we've got ULLI span pound radios there. And let's do a save there. And we'll come back. Under our input, we'll do a ULLI input type equal radio. And in this we'll do a float none. Do a margin right of 0 pixels. Padding of 0 pixels. Width of 40 pixels. So we've got our input type equal radio. Changing the float there. And then we'll come down here, back to our radios again. And our span did not have an ID, so we'll give our ID radios. You'll see that pops up for us there. And then I'm going to do an inline style. Float right. Save that. And so there we've moved it over. Our text changed to black. It's fairly well in line with the others, which is what we wanted. So now we've got our insert page. So we've one thing we don't have is on refresh, we don't have the insertion point going where we want it. So let's go check that out. And we'll scroll all the way to the bottom. And the shipper ID needs to become car ID. So that JavaScript at the bottom that sets the focus. We'll save that. And refresh. And now we've got our insertion point showing in that first box, which is what we wanted. So that's our insert into Assign06 Cars. Now we need to do the doInsertCar page. So we are going to start with doInsert from the previous assignment, and we're going to modify it. I'm going to come back to let's go to Dreamweaver. Bring this up. we've got insert car here that we just did, and we've got this do insert. So I'm going to change the name on it to do insert car. So now we're working on this page here, and we've got a lot of things that we've got to make sure we change. So in some ways, starting from this page and making modifications is nice because a lot of the code's already there, but we've just got to make changes to it. In some ways, it can make it more difficult because it becomes pretty easy to forget to change an ID somewhere and something doesn't work then. But you should be able to debug the PHP with the error messages and find those things and get them changed. So we're going to have more than 3 right here. Let's go ahead and change these 3. So we need car ID is getting the posted value for car ID, lowercase c. Car make is getting the posted value from car make. And then car model is getting the posted value from car model. Again, this right here, and this right here, and this right here have to match the previous page. The name equals. Input name equals. Right there. Not the ID, not the for, not the label. Input name equals. That's what those have to match. Again here, input name equals car ID. That is what this is right here. And then we've got, we need more of these. We need 3 more. So I'm just going to copy one of these, and we need car year, car color, car hybrid. Then I'm going to line these up. So this one here can only be a number, and there is a check below. We'll check to see if it is numeric. Car make is a drop-down box, so we don't need add slashes because the user cannot type into this particular item. So there's no chance of the user typing something that we need to escape out. So we don't need add slashes there. Car model is one that the user can type into. Car year is once again a drop-down box, so we don't need add slashes there. Car color, they can type in, so we do need add slashes to escape out anything. This one is a yes or no radio, so we don't need add slashes to escape out special characters. So those 3 items, different from our last assignment. The user can only select things. The user cannot enter anything. So we are controlling what gets sent. We control the possible values for car make, the possible values for year, and the possible values yes or no for the hybrid. We will still have remove these. We will need it for, we do not need it for the ID or the make, the year, or the hybrid. We just need it for ones that the users can enter something for. So we need car model, and over here that local variable again, car model, and car color. And again over here, car color. So we are searching the local variable car model that we grabbed from the previous page. We are looking for all of these elements and replacing it with the empty string and storing it back into itself. So we've done that for the ones that the user can type things into. Again, we're controlling these other three and what they can be. Here we're going to check and make sure that everything did have something chosen or entered. This first one will be car ID. As long as the car ID is not the empty string. Then we're looking for the car make. And I'll change this one to car model. Now the the car make is never going to be the empty string, but it could be the default value of this. So if we come back to this page and we look at car make, that first top value, if that gets submitted, we don't want that. We'll send them back and say you must enter a value for all boxes. So we'll check for make. Here we have model. I need to copy this because we have 6 items. So we'll do 3 more. After car model is car year. It is just like this make one. So it's a selection box. So we'll do dash, year, dash. And then we've got car color. And finally, car hybrid. So we're checking to make sure that things are not empty. Make sure they selected a radio button. Make sure they typed something in where they could type. Make sure that they chose something from the drop-down boxes that they were supposed to. If any of those things are not true, we set the error message. You must enter a value for all boxes and go back to insert car. Not just insert, but insert car. We'll go ahead and change that here as well. Go back to insert car. Next, we check to see if car ID is numeric. So we change this to car ID. So check to see if car ID is numeric and change this message to say car ID. You must enter a number for car ID. If we get through all of that, everything's okay so far. So we are going to open our database, and we need to check and see if that car ID exists before we try to insert it. So we need to see if car ID, select car ID from Assign06 Cars, where car ID is equal to the local variable car ID. So that's going to select from, and again remember you can always do an echo and then stop your processing right here. So if I do a save here, back here to the one we're working on, we'll do insert car, choose something, type something, choose something, type something, choose one. You'll see I landed on doInsertCar.php, and here is my select statement. I can copy that select statement. I can go over here to, it was probably going to make me log in again. Make sure Gauss is chosen. Go to my cars table, go to the SQL tab. So I can copy this from here, come here and paste it, and hit go. And you'll see it executed fine, and it selected nothing, which means that 55 does not exist. So you can always do that as you work through. So I'm going to comment those out. You can always do that to check your SQL if you're not sure if it's working. Those processing pages that we pass through, that's a main method of debugging, is stopping the processing and writing things out to see what they equal. So we do that select. We use our database connection from OpenDBCon, pass it the SQL, store the rows, the spreadsheet into the result. Check to make sure that that it's not empty. Actually, what we want is for it to be 0. We want it to be empty. So if it's not equal to 0, well, then the car ID you entered already exists, and we need to go back to, again, insert car. So make sure you change that to insert car there. Otherwise, we're in good shape. We make it down to here so that we can insert that car ID. So we do an insert into Assign06Cars. And then we've got our columns. So we've got 6 columns here. And we do car ID, car make, car model, car year, car color, and car hybrid. So again, let's take a little diversion here and come back to here. I'm on my Assign06 Cars table. Here you can see table Assign06 Cars. Here you can see my columns listed, the 6 of them. Again, the insert statement is insert into table name, so Assign06 Cars, followed by the names of the columns. So we just list these out. So insert into table name, and we're listing out the column names. We do that so that after the keyword values, the values that we put in here match up with the column names. So our first value is, it's going to be an integer, so I'm just going to pick one. And then we've got second value, third value, fourth value, fifth value, sixth value. So the car make, that would match up here. If this somehow happened to get here, it's going to get inserted as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It would try to insert it as the year. So these line up. So car ID is the first value, car make is the second value, car model is the third value, and so on. Textual values being inserted have single quotes around them. Integers do not have single quotes around it. So again, that's a quick look at our insert statement once again. So here, let's concatenate in all of our values. We're going to have car ID as the first value. Again, there's no single quotes. So here and here, there's no single quotes. This will become car make. This will become car model. And we need 3 more of them there. So I'm going to start from right there, and I'm going to copy to right there, the comma. So it will be comma, concatenation, comma, concatenation, comma, concatenation, and it will end with a single quote, parenthesis, double quote like that. We'll change this car model to be car year. We'll change this one to be car color. And we'll change this last one to be car hybrid. Once again, you can do an echo, $SQL, exit. We'll save this. Come back to the one we're working on. So I've entered this information. I'll hit insert. The exit statement stops me, and I can look at my insert statement to see if it looks right. If I want to, I can copy it. I can go to phpMyAdmin, and I can paste it in there. And then I can hit go and test it and see if it inserts 55. So the syntax is correct. So if you were missing a single quote somewhere, it would have showed up right here when you hit go. You'd have an error message. So we come back here, and there's 55. So I'm going to comment out the echo, comment out the exit. Now we will send that insert statement to the database. Then we will close our database connection and redirect back to select.php. Let me scan through here. Okay. Save that. Let's come back here, come to the one we're working on, go back. I'm going to change this to a 56, and change this to something different, change this to something different, change this to a no, and hit insert. And we've got 56 with the values that we entered. Come back and do it again, hit insert info. So we've got, you must enter a value for all boxes. So let's do 57 and hit insert info. Get our error message. Let's do 57 and this. Get our error message. Let's do 57 and this and this. Error message. Choose a year. Get our error message. Choose a year. Put something for color. We get our error message. And choose one of these two. Insert info, and it goes through 57 and what we typed. So there we checked for our error checking. Made it through. We've got our insert page, our insertion point set. We changed our CSS a little bit. Inserting brings us back to select all so that we can see it inserted down here. And that completes the insert portion for the car.